Are you dreaming of the lifestyle that comes with successful trading? Well, it's time to make it a reality. Welcome to the Trading Ascension Podcast, where you can discover methods to improve your trading results by focusing on your trading psychology. I'm Jason E., your guide on this path to trading improvement, self-discovery, and self-mastery. Together, we'll explore the personal and spiritual growth journey of profitable day trading. Prepare to unlock the secrets of the trader's mind and align your inner self with your personal success. Listen to this episode if you want to ascend to new levels of trading excellence and personal development. This is Trading Ascension, supporting your journey to mastering trading psychology and personal growth for consistent profits. Let's elevate your trading and your consciousness starting now. Welcome to the season 8 of the Trading Ascension Podcast. So I'm curiously excited to connect with you all again. We started the year off together, and here we are closing in on the fourth quarter of the year. Like, wow. And we'll be able to spend it together. So thank you all who have been long listeners to the show, those who embrace the personal growth journey within the trading journey. It's true that going from beginner to our respective goals is unique to us as individuals, right? The mental aspect and the tangible aspect, depending on how we trade. Yet, we can gather and we connect on the similarities of the journey and the perspective on those similarities, right? And I think that's what bonds us here. One of the goals for the things that we focus on and one of the major purposes that we come together is to seek simplicity. The way I see it, when something is simple, that is way better than something being overcomplicated. And when I say we seek simplicity, that means we seek to make our entire trading business effective and efficient. I don't want effective without efficient. I don't know about you, right? Amazingly, that's a debatable topic. A lot of effective people don't care to be efficient. And when I say efficient, that means doing something with the optimal amount of energy, right? Not burning out, accomplishing it. It's important because generally it's our life that we're trading, right? It's the energy that we're giving, our mental, our emotional, and physically, right? The capital. So in my opinion, trading with efficiency is top priority. You heard that saying that if you have to cut a tree in 90 minutes, you want to spend 60 minutes sharpening the axe, right? Now, I don't know if those numbers are true to the original quote, but you get what I'm saying. The simple path is important not only because it's the success path, but it helps us overcome the 3 biggest hurdles that ruin traders. Simplicity helps us fight what, in my opinion, is the most formidable of adversaries to traders, right? So what do you think the most formidable adversary to day traders is? I argue it's ambiguity. Trading Ascension was created to aid us all in battling ambiguity, because on the other side of ambiguity is simplicity, and simplicity is efficient, and efficient is success. So today, as we kick off a new season, let's talk at a high level, right? At a level that you can only get to with the experience that we all have in this community. And let's focus on simplicity, using that word to be synonymous with success. So when I say, the simplicity path, I really mean the success path. Only a successful person can be on the success path. And that path leads to higher and higher levels of success as we one by one achieve our next milestones. If you are overwhelmed while you're trading, if it's become, too much to manage and maybe you want to quit, or maybe you have quit, right? And you saw the notification for a new podcast that comes out and you're just curious, that's why you're here. Whatever reason you're here today, the goal is that you leave encouraged and with the tools to help you take the next step forward. Ambiguity is the boss of all bosses in the trading realm. And there's a lot of bosses, right? And we'll attack ambiguity today. We're going to deliver a blow that weakens it. Put him on his ass, right? That makes me think back to football, right? We're going to knock him down. But I'm thankful that trading has brought something that I'm just as passionate about, after sports. And, I don't want to get on a tangent about that, about sports. So anyway, right? The passion that I have and that you have from trading allows us to put focus in it. So if we want to figure out how to make trading easier long term and overcome the hurdles that we have right now, these hurdles, right? We must understand that these hurdles are likely tied to ambiguity. So if you understand that, this episode is for you. We'll be talking about how implementing simplicity can be a game changer for you. So like we hate to drive through, let's get it in. Now, earlier I skipped a part of the equation, right? When I was talking about success equals simplicity and all that, but I omitted that step deliberately, right? What I failed to mention and what we'll cover today is how the path to consistency and to simplicity is through chaos. So let's talk about the research for a moment from different areas of study. You've probably heard of the chaos theory, right? And it reveals that seemingly random or complex systems can produce ordered patterns and structures. So this emergence of order from chaos suggests a fundamental simplicity underlying complex phenomena, right? We see that in the financial markets. And then, what about self-organization? When we observe life, complex systems often exhibit self-organization, where simple rules governing individual components lead to complex global behaviors. And then this demonstrates how simplicity at a local level can generate complexity at a macro level and vice versa, right? It goes back and forth. And then there's the simplicity of underlying principles. While chaotic systems may appear complex on the surface, they often are governed by relatively simple mathematical rules or equations, right? This reveals a deeper simplicity beneath the apparent complexity, right? The program behind a random number generator is pretty simple, right? But the numbers are random. But what is important is the limits of prediction and control. When we are talking about the path from chaos to simplicity, we have to limit what we can control. The chaos theory, it highlights the inherent unpredictability of complex systems, which paradoxically simplifies our approach by emphasizing our adaptability and our resistance over precise control, right? Because some things we just can't control. So in trading, this means that we can find simplicity, aka success, when we limit things to what we can control. This is what we do when we initially set up a trading success generator system, right? The unique way that we hyper focus on the trading journey. And that's what helps us limit the market's chaos. That's why we have, a set amount of setups, right? You just don't take every trade. So we, through chaos of simplicity and the similarity of these markets, we can chop down to a multitude of factors and find consistency in the chaos, right? That's what we do as day traders. That's what keeps us from being gamblers. Now, I also must mention that what's foundational to this principle in regards to seeking chaos and merging it into simplicity is that of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is a branch of physics dealing with heat, work, temperature, and that relationship to energy, entropy, and physical properties of matter, and also radiation. But that's not, doesn't apply to today. Now, I have studied this branch of physics and its relationship with personal development since about 2004. And you often heard me mention it on the show, but we're going to have a slight twist to it today. I only focus on one of the laws mostly, but to get us on the same page, let's just build from the beginning, right? I might be reaching here, but just stick with me, right, as we try to apply some of these other laws besides the second law that I usually focus on. We can do it, right? So totally, there are 4 laws of thermodynamics. Like I said, I only focus on one, but let's start to see if the others relate. So there's the 0th law of thermodynamics. And that tells us that if two systems are thermally equal with a third system, they are in thermal equilibrium to each other. Okay? So it's like a friend of a friend. So the key point here is that it establishes the concept of temperature. And this is the physics side, allows us to consistently measure temperature, right? It's behind the fundamental use of thermometers. Now in trading, we have to understand, just as the market is seeking equilibrium between buyers and sellers, us traders, we have to aim for emotional equilibrium so we can make rational decisions, right? And when we equal to one of those two, all three can be aligned, right? According to that law. Yeah, that works. We'll get more in depth. So the first law of thermodynamics, how does that apply? Well, the first law says that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. I'm sure you've heard of that one. It can only be converted from one form to another. So the key points there is, it's also known as the law of conservation, and it applies to both closed and open systems. Okay, so I'm going to circle back to that, closed and open systems, and talk about mu and all the other stuff. But for trading, the energy or the effort that we put into trading strategies is conserved and manifested as either profits, losses, or gain experience, right? So if we can channel it, it can go into one of those three areas, all benefit our growth. So now through physics, we can see how emotional equilibrium, and I don't know if I define that, but equilibrium is a state of being balanced, or it's a stability when opposing forces are influencing us, right? So when we do that when we seek equilibrium, we reserve energy. In this case, that energy is mental capital. Thus, we can make good decisions that are aligned with us acting in our own best interest. So when you trade emotionally, that market, it takes the excess energy, right? And it munches on it. And since the energy of the market is expressed monetarily, usually lose money. And in exchange for that, you're given frustration, anger, and a whole host of feelings. So only by noticing how we react to situations can we identify what we hold within, right? Where we are in equilibrium to the market and to our goals. So we take the steps to gain clarity on our future self. The equilibrium of the market exposes this imbalance, and we can see this imbalance through our inner talk and our reactions to our situation in the market, right? How did you react to that win? How did you react to that loss? Maybe you lost and inside you said, oh, I'm a dumbass. I can't do this. It's too difficult, right? And you just slowly drift away and quit, right? Or when you notice that inner talk that is forced out of you due to the nature of the market. When it happens, you know that you are imbalanced within yourself. And we got to seek greater equilibrium within ourselves. So the market and our desired results are the three factors that kind of go into play of that early law of thermodynamics. And we have to do this with the utmost accountability. So it's not the results we chase. The results, the money, it's a byproduct of being the new person that gets those results, right? The goose is always worth more than the golden egg. So here's the transformation part, right? The second law of thermodynamics, it states that entropy of an isolated system, and it can be open or closed system, always increases over time. Entropy is a measurement of disorder, randomness, even uncertainty, right? Also known as chaos. So chaos in an isolated system always increases over time. So the first law states that, it applies to an open and closed system. Remember, I told you we'd circle back to that. That's key here because we, as humans, we're open systems. An open system is a system that has external interactions, which can involve the exchange of information, energy, or materials with the environment. So, for example, as humans, We take in food, right? We have waste. We drink water, right? We pee it out. We hear, we talk. Things go inside and out of humans as we interact with our environment. Another example is like a hot tub, right? The water pipes into the hot tub, fills the tub part. There's a water tube that leaves, right? And it either circles back through a filter, or just, kind of leaks out to the grass, right? Depending on how you got your hot tub set up. So the tube itself has an in and out function, right? That's an open system. Now, if the open system is consistently increasing in chaos, there are three potential paths forward. So please listen here, because this changed my life. And in some ways, it saved my life because it equipped me with the tools to deal with situations in which I felt powerless. You might be powerless in your trading, right? Feeling that way, thinking, I'll never see the light. I can't do this. But you can. So when entropy, chaos, when it raises in a system, the system has three options. Number one, it cease to exist. It can die. It's possible. It will break down, for example, if you drink too much, right? The cells are introduced to these higher levels of craziness, right? Of chaos. So they have to work like crazy to clear this out of our system before they're forced to shut down, right? Hence the liver issues that come from alcohol. Now, the option 2 is an adjustment of the dissipation. And dissipation is the dumping of excess energy, right? So the system is overwhelmed and it can energy dump, right? And so sticking to the drinking, right, which isn't the best example, but it works. If you've ever pounded beers, you know that, you're going to go to the restroom more frequently, right? You're going to start dissipating that poison out of your system. So to deal with increased chaos, we can increase the output or we can address the input, right? You can drink less. You can take less in. So in the real world, if you've ever just had enough, right? You reach the threshold. We all know where our thresholds are, right? Certain amount of traffic, we're frustrated. Certain conversations trigger us, right? We all have thresholds in different areas of our life. And you're just like, I'm done with it, right? When it comes to the example of eating, right? I just can't eat anymore. I'm full, right? I can't drink anymore. I'm done, right? Because the entropy is full, right? The system has gotten too chaotic. So you got to put a stop to the input or dissipate, right? And you might see like a depressed human. They're overwhelmed. They're at their threshold. They just lay in bed. They sleep isolated, right? So that limits the input into the system, into an overwhelmed system that's helpful. And then they can dissipate. Common practices of human dissipation most common are alcohol, exercise, sex, drugs, right? And you hear advice like, when you're stressed, go for a run, or you want to work out after a tough day at work. What this does is it lowers the entropy in the system so the system can get back to a manageable level of chaos. Now, there is a less common third option, and the third option is observed when we see physics merge with spiritual growth. The third option is using a technique or techniques to embrace the chaos. As you wait for a quantum shift in your system. Now, this is a magical process in which the proper behaviors can force the current system to restructure in a non-linear way as a version of itself that makes the overwhelming level of chaos and entropy go from the top of the ceiling, breaching it, to the floor, right, of the new structure. So let me take a sip here, let you marinate on that. So I said something key in there, non-linear, right? Linear growth is 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You expect it to come, but what I'm talking about here, when you can take the third path towards simplicity, when you are experiencing entropy and chaos, it's non-linear, right? It goes from 1 to 10. The new structure, by definition, has no relationship to the old structure. The only tie is that the new structure easily handles the old level of entropy. So this means that there is a restructure, and again, the ceiling becomes the floor. So the old system was dealing with that chaos, and it was the minimum, reached the, or was the maximum, right? Reached the ceiling. We were overwhelmed. And now at the new level, it's not even noticeable. That growth we've experienced has put us on a new plane of existence. So this growth I've experienced numerous times in my life in different areas in which, I've been at my wit's end, overwhelmed, feeling like death. And when I say death, this is psychological, right? Feeling that psychological end, like something has to change, right? This can't go on like this because the environment input is more than you can handle. And then you go to this level where you barely remember the situation impacting you. So that the foundation that we just laid through this research, it begs the question, how does chaos lead to simplicity? How does this relate to trading? And what actions turn chaos into the next level of simplicity? And so I think we can talk about this as a 3-step process. 1, organize. 2, equilibrium. And 3, the handling of dissipation. So the 3 steps have led me to, or led me from aspiring trader to funded trader, from 2K monthly goals to 2K days, right? From 10K monthly goals to 11K days. Now, full disclosure, I'm a funded trader, so I can't always just pull all that money out of the account, which is neither here nor there. My point is that these 3 steps can elevate your trading to your next milestone, whatever that is for you. These 3 steps are exactly what the trading success generator does, right? It will work for you without a doubt, and all you have to do is just tweak it and make it work for you, right? This proprietary approach, and it's all we talk about here, right? And it's available for you. So let's at least highlight all 3 steps, although this episode is focused on kind of that 3rd step, that limiting dissipation. Understand, implementing the trader success system, it starts off chaotic because you're managing so many parts, right? And that's the organization, right? That's the leverage that moves you towards a physics type or physics backed, research backed simplicity. If you need a visual as we move forward of the trading success system, because I'm just going to highlight it as we lead to today's topic, go to the homepage of tradingascension.com. Scroll down on that homepage just past the first main fold, and you'll see an image, right? So that image is kind of what I'm talking about here. So 3 steps: organize, equilibrium, limit dissipation. So let's start with step 1. That is the organization. I believe an organized trader, one serious about expecting the path of their goals, and that expectation leads to expediting the path towards their goals. I believe that trader goes into the week with what I'm calling a cycle plan, right? You can see this at the top of that picture there. A cycle plan is just a weekly strategy for your trading business. Now, at a minimum, a cycle plan has 3 parts. You see the picture? Self-image clarity. You have to have a growing understanding of what your trading goal is. For example, and this is kind of the goal and the self-image clarity, they work together. But let's say the goal is, I want to make 3K monthly day trading. So you have to have a related self-image, a mental picture of who you have to be to get those results. You have to have the thoughts and clarity emotionally and psychologically as a consistent trader already making 3K monthly, right? You must embody that energy in order to take the right actions to get that result. So you have some areas of habits that you need to take on to be that version. And you have some areas of habits that you need to drop and stop doing to be that $3,000 a month trader. You have brought that vision from the future and you seek to become it now, right? You've mentally collapsed time frames. So the second part of the cycle, which I kind of mentioned earlier, is the goal, right? And that would be the 3K, which is the goal. And the only difference between the cycle plan goal and the overall goal is the cycle plan breaks the 3K goal down into daily bites, right? So there's the overarching goal, there's the goal within the cycle plan, which is the broken down goal, and then there's the self-image clarity, which is who you have to be to accomplish this. So the goal is usually, in two parts. First is the statistical elimination of a resistant habit, such as this week, I want to lower the times that I have adjusted my stop loss and lost too many times, right? So that's an action that you have to do that has to be merged with okay, if I'm going to make 3K this month and I'm trading on average, every day of the average 22 trading days a month, I need to average $137 each day to hit that 3K mark. So the goal, it's mixed with the growth towards the target and the actual target itself, right? What we have to do to hit it. So there's parts there with the self-image clarity being the overarching moving picture of who you must be, right? And how you must take action without resistance. So the action you take is the trading plan, and that's the last part of the cycle plan. A trading plan, it also has 3 parts. And again, this visual is on the website. If you need help, setting this up, this is a shameless plug for the coaching packages. On the website, all the information's there. You don't need me to implement it. You could go through all these shows. You can figure it out. But if you really want to hold your hand, to get some extra tools to doing this, reach out to me, get a coaching package. But the trading plan consists of 3 things: a trading strategy, risk management, and market context. Now we'll start with that last one. Market context is also known as experience. There's no replacement for experience as a trader. We all have to go out, we have to get it ourselves. And the experience means that you're pulling data from the growth zone so you can make proper and powerful adjustments to behavior. The growth zone is taking live market trades. So no one can teach me, hey, Jason, when you're at target and the market starts to move into a range, it's time to stop. Only market context, only experience could teach me that. Or, hey, Jason, you don't trade well when you wake up in this particular mood. Or, Jason, you don't trade well when you have that meeting coming up, right? And you only have an hour or 45 minutes between the open and that meeting. I had to learn that for myself by pulling data from the growth zone. And the growth zone, again, is taking live market trades, and the data is logged of your trading actions. And there's an accompanying blog, right, or journal about the emotions and the environments that are supporting that action, right? So you have the actions you're taking, right, adhering to your plan and to the strategy. And then you have the environment, the things that you're journaling about, right? What are supporting those actions? What's the environment like when you're taking those actions? And again, those actions are the trading strategy. And too much attention is given to this area for novice traders, right? They always are worried about the strategy and copying someone's strategy. And it's just a part of a large system, right? As you see in the picture. A strategy at minimum, it needs a few things. It needs a defined method of entering the market. So what must happen? Ultimate clarity written down, right, in paragraph form, and then maybe moved into a rule-based form that you can check off. But you need to know what must happen for you to play, right? What must occur for you to enter the market? And then next is the in-market management. And that includes things like scaling up, right, trailing price action. And then the last thing is exiting the market when it comes to creating the strategy. What must happen to let you know, hey, it's over, right? Maybe it hits your stop loss. Maybe some indicators change. You're like, oh, I'm out, right? Whatever that is, written down, and you have to have clarity on that. So lastly, we define being a trader as having a trading account. So risk management is the way that we limit our account exposure to the markets so we have the funds to trade another day, right? So quick side note, the trading plan is the foundation needed to even start discussing trading psychology. If you don't have a trading plan, you don't know what you should be doing, so you can't judge how well you're psychologically adhering to a plan when you don't have one. And without that data, you'll never be able to work on the right things, either psychologically or adjust the things within your trading strategy. So without a trading plan, you're going to fall victim to the mindset of, I just need to win more, versus being able to address the factors that create the input leading to winning more, right? Because winning is an output. So we organize, right? That's step one, helpful in physics. And it's helpful because it's the finite approach to our weekly trading. We limit all of the factors, right, that you have to worry about. And you limit them to things that you can control. Now, initially, it's a lot. It's a lot to create it. It's a lot to focus on. But the alternative is just blowing in the wind, changing so much that your data doesn't even help you, right? Just too much changes. Garbage in, garbage out. And that's chaos. But with this system limiting things, this chaos will lead to simplicity because it's finite. It would be hard for a kid to learn every single word in the dictionary. But learning the ABCs, right? There's not a infinite amount of ABCs. So that's the first step in making words easier. So setting up a system is the first step to improving your psychology, which moves us on to two, which is equilibrium. Over time, sticking to your success generator system, gathering accurate data, it helps you become the system. Now, trying to remember my entry rules when I was learning to trade, it was crazy. It was like, okay, this time I entered. Oh, damn, I forgot to consider the EMA. All right, EMA looks good. Shoot, I didn't notice the resistance. Oh, wait, I was late on entering on that one. Oh, dang, I got in too early, right? It was a lot. But the only saving grace for new traders is knowing you are mastering something just like the ABCs that doesn't go on forever, right? You're simply trying to learn and master your 3, your 4, your 15, whatever amount of entry criteria that you have, right? And then you're trying to manage the trade with the things that you learn from experience that the market could throw at you. And that might just be price action pulling back all the way to, oh shit, it jumped my stop loss, right? My account is bleeding, right? It's open. I gotta find the force close. I gotta get to another tab. I gotta get exited out of this, right? So whatever the market throws at you for that management. Now, after taking the same action so many times, you start to embody it because it becomes second nature. And the changes that you make from that, right? Because maybe your system is, you're testing it out, you're creating one, but the changes are clear, logical, data-driven changes. So they're built on the work that you're doing, so you never have to start from scratch, right? You're constantly putting your efforts into a box that becomes a resource for you, right? And that's how you collapse your time frame as a trader. So as you match your energy with the system and you match your energy with your future self, that's the equilibrium that's going to thrust you forward, especially when you use your data as feedback to observe where equilibrium is off in your trading psychology. And it's going to point out the issues that need to be addressed, right? I often talk about being lost, stuck, and alone. And when you don't have data, you're going to be lost. You're not going to know what to work on. And then if you have data and you don't have, ways to change your behavior, you're going to be stuck. You're going to say, you know what? I know I need to not enter the trade early. I know I need to not overtrade, but I can't change myself. Right? And that hurts. It hurts to be in that position. But you don't have to be, right? This community is about entering into methods that help us use this data so we can reach equilibrium. So the last part is the last part of the process to get us to the simple path, the success path, is forcing a quantum leap. It's forcing yourself as an open system to expand. Now, remember I talked about 3 ways to deal with entropy, right? We can limit dissipation. We can dump energy, right? The system dying, we won't even talk about that, but that just means quitting. A lot of traders quit. So I guess we will talk about that, but you can quit, you can limit dissipation, or you can dump energy. Usually the limiting and the dumping come together. So this is what happens, within us from a thermodynamic perspective on our open system. You get stressed, you feel overwhelmed, you withdraw, and you dump the energy. A real world example would be your lack of equilibrium with the market forces you to take a huge loss. And not only did you lose money, you're looking back at the action and you're like, that was silly. Why'd I even do that? Right? It just doesn't even make any sense. What was I thinking at that time? So you limit the input, right? So you reach your threshold, chaos. You limit the input by walking away. I'm slamming down this damn laptop. I'm just going to walk away. Computer closed, right? Because your open system can't take any more input. Maybe you start dissipating energy by yelling, punching the air. Like, I got to get this extra energy out, right? So you start getting rid of that excess energy. And now, those heavy emotions, they start to ramp up a little bit, but they'll go down eventually. And then at the same time, you're lowering the entropy and you're trying to dissipate because you're experiencing this internal chaos. And you want to get your system back to functioning as normal. And it's likely, when doing this, right, you feel normal eventually, but it's likely you're going to carry some baggage forward as a bias when you do the activity that forced you to reach that threshold, right? That's how people get triggered. That's how we learn as children, where our triggers are because of a process like that. Chaos and how we handle it. Dissipating, right? Limiting input. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm good now. And, the only issues with altering the input and the output is the threshold of the system. It remains the same. So in the future, that same catalyst will once again trigger you and you'll start dumping energy again, right? You'll have that emotional outburst. Again, the most common things, exercise, sex, drugs, alcohol, and you're stuck in a loop. Now, to be clear, I am not judging sex, alcohol, drugs, exercising. Did I say them all? Sex, drugs, alcohol, exercise. I'm not judging those things. What I'm telling you is that doing those things for the sake of avoiding your threshold is a trap. It's going to get you in a loop. In order for us to grow the threshold of our system, making today's ceiling tomorrow's floor, is we have to allow our system to make a quantum leap, a non-linear leap. How do we do that? Well, I think it was Churchill that said the fastest way through hell, if you find yourself there, is to keep moving, right? I think that's Churchill. Maybe not. But it was said. And what that meant is that you have to sit in that pain, right? There's no turning back. You must stay aware during chaos. Don't run from it, right? So a tool, right, you're at threshold. Don't walk away from the computer. Log that trade. Take the picture. Write in the journal. Treat it the same way you would a winner. Don't retreat. Next, find that energy within. That chaos, that entropy, it usually has a cellular location in your body. So what you want to do is you want to sit still. You want to find it. You want to seek it. Maybe it's a tight stomach. Maybe it's a thumping chest. Maybe it's a headache. And I can promise you this energy hides somewhere in your physical body. Seek it out. And when you seek it, it might run, right? It's going to try to not be exposed to the light of your awareness. But stay still, Go within, stay on the hunt. You have to do this right in the moment. The next part is that once you find this energy, you want to breathe through this energy. You find the body location and you need to breathe through that part of your body, right? And this is an imaginary exercise. So my current trading thresholds, it lives just under my left pectoral muscle, right? Slightly over from the heart to the outside, right? When things are going bad for me, if I'm on the verge of crashing out, as the cool kids say these days, that energy builds up in that area. I found it. So I do a breathing exercise, and I prefer box breathing. There are many of them, but as I'm box breathing, I am seeing the air exiting and entering through that spot on my body, right? Versus the reality of it going, in my nose and out my mouth. So it's a mental exercise that while I'm doing this breathing, I'm breathing into that area. I'm bringing attention and awareness to that area within my body. And this is a tick for tack battle. That means that, you must fight when you get punched. It ramps up, you ramp up the attention, right? It runs around, moves around your body, you chase it. When you feel your threshold being reached, don't retreat, right? Don't run from that trading related catalyst. Don't dissipate. Breathe through this newly found body home of this energy. And a lot of times with a quiet mind, it's going to reveal its secrets, right? And you understand its secrets by listening to the self-talk. What is the resistance? Is it saying, oh, I'm a dumbass. I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not worthy. That's the resistance that we're seeking. That's the limits on the threshold. And it may arise 10 times. Do the process 10 times. I promise you win. If you're brave, if not only brave, but if you have courage, it's easy to just walk away, step outside, smoke a cigarette, head off on a run. But that retreat is a step backwards. And it's a retreat from the trading goal when you need to go forward. And when you go forward, there's going to be a moment, you may not be aware of it, to where you're going to shift and where you defeated that specific demon. And there are going to be more on the path, but we all have to fight them individually. And when you defeat that demon, you're going to have more strength towards the next one. And by going about it in a deliberate way, there's a less likely chance that you're going to have to face that battle again. And that's what the Trading Success Generator system is meant to do, is to aid you in behavioral change so you can move forward tomorrow, leaving yesterday's pain, yesterday's emotions, yesterday's trials and tribulations. You can leave them in the past. And I'm talking about a shift, a non-linear shift. Yesterday's issues, they don't bother you, right? Because just the way that we have to merge into our future self and have aligning actions, when that old self dies, the thoughts, the memories, the emotions, the action, it goes with that mental state, right? So this is indeed a quantum shift. I hope this was helpful. If you have questions, if you need help on your journey, send me an email. There's coaching packages on the website. You can re-listen to these shows if they're helpful. And please, through whatever platform you're on, give the show a heart, a like, leave a comment. Tell me about your journey. Here's to being the hero of your story. Welcome to Season 8, and I'll talk with you next week. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Trading Ascension Podcast. I hope you found valuable insights to help you on your day trading journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support by subscribing and leaving reviews helps me reach more traders like you and continue to provide this valuable content. Don't forget to head over to the tradingascension.com website for free resources, more tips, and exclusive content. If you can't wait till the next show, check out some of the previous episodes. They're great. But do join me on the next episode. And until then, keep ascending, stay mindful, and remember, Your journey to mastering trading psychology for consistent profits starts with your willingness to embrace personal growth.